Hello everyone, hope you're well and welcome to video number 3, and today we're going to be talking about risk management. Guys, I cannot stress enough the importance of this video. This is the reason 90% of people that trade lose money. I know when you're starting out this seems secondary, but believe me, this is very, very important. No matter how good and talented of a trader you are, if you do not manage your risk, you will end up negative always. If you just started a few months ago and have been profitable for a month or two, I can guarantee you with full certainty that you will lose. All right, it's a matter of time. It might take a few more months, it might be next week, but you will lose. Okay, so what is risk management? Risk management is the act of calculating your possible gains versus your possible losses and decide if this is a trade that you should take. All right, so let's look at a concrete example. So in this example, I'm going to use the casino as an example. I'm not recommending you go to the casino or anything. I just believe as traders we all like to use examples related to gambling because in essence what we do is gamble, right? We just gamble with the high probability trades. So let's examine this example. Let's say you're playing at the casino every single day. All right, now I'm gonna write this down so it's easier for you to visualize. So every day you have a chance of winning $100 or losing $50. As soon as you lose 50, you go home, and as soon as you win 100, you go home, right? So what I'm about to tell you is a lie, but it helps in illustrating my example, right? So let's say you have a 50% chance of winning, which you do not, obviously. That's just for the example. So because we have a 50% chance of winning, our risk to reward ratio is a 2-to-1. So risk to reward, also known as RR, is 2-to-1. That's how we display risk to reward. It will be a number followed by colon and usually the 1 in the end, all right? So how do we calculate this risk to reward? Let's write this down and you should screenshot at the end. We calculate it by taking your maximum profit divided by your maximum loss. Our maximum profit is 100 because we agreed if we make 100, we go home. Our maximum loss is $50 because we agreed if we lose $50, we go home. So this equals 2. Therefore, our risk to reward ratio is a 2-to-1, meaning that for every $50 that we are risking, we are also standing a chance of making 100. This is a fair risk to reward ratio. So let's say that you do this for 10 days straight. So you come here, I'm going to write this all down. Say we do this for 10 days straight. And because you have a 50% chance of winning, one day you'll lose, one day you'll win, all right? But every day that you win $100, and every day that you lose 50. So let's write this down. So you had 5 wins and 5 losses, right? But those 5 wins totaled 100 plus 100, $500, right? And those 5 losses amounted to 50, $250, right? This equals to a total profit of $250, right? Makes sense? So you can see that in this particular example, although you went to the casino 10 times and you had a 50% chance of winning, because you had proper risk management, you ended up coming out positive instead of negative, all right? And this applies to trading in its entirety. So let's look at a trading example for Bitcoin here live, all right? We're going to show you actually what a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio would look like in a trade if we were to take it right now. Let's put this on a 4-hour chart. All right, so luckily for all of us, TradingView has a feature that calculates risk to reward for us. Right here where I have my cursor on, that's number 7 coming from the top, And once you hit it, they actually have a risk reward feature for both a long position and a short position. In this example, I'm going to use a long position. Once you hit it and press it somewhere, it will calculate automatically the risk reward that you have. So let's take this mock trade to see what a 2-to-1 ratio would look like, right? Bitcoin is hovering around 6,500 right now. Let's say you wanted to open up a long right here. The center here is where you open the trade. You're opening your long here at 6,500. And let's say that your target where you would sell is here, 7,500. All right. And your stop loss is over here at 6,000. There you have it. A 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And there's another way to do this. All you have to do is double click it and go on coordinates, and you can actually put your prices right here. So you have your entry price, your target, and your stop loss, right? These numbers here, that's not what you want. Where you input numbers is here. So 7,500 to be exact. And then here, 6,500. And my stop loss, 6,000. So then you have it, a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. That means that you can be wrong twice as long as you're right once. You will at the very least break even, right? That's a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So now let's look at an even better risk to reward. So to keep things simple, I'm going to stay on Bitcoin, all right? So let's say you want to open another position and it'll be right here at 6,500, right? You grab your long position tool, assuming that you're going long. Say you want to enter right where it is right now at 6,500. You hit it there, and let's look at a 2.5-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Recall in the past example, you're targeting 7,500. So you can still have the same target and increase your risk to reward ratio. So let's say that you are targeting 7,500, but instead of having your stop loss at 6,000, you move it to 6,100. That's enough to increase your risk reward ratio dramatically. So you see now at 6,100, you'll have a 2.5-to-1 risk reward ratio. That's because you are risking $400 for a chance to make 1,000. So let's go over our formula again so we're clear. Your risk to reward ratio is determined by your maximum profit divided by your maximum loss. So in here we have a maximum profit of $1,000, and you are risking to get that having a maximum loss of 400. So when you divide that, you get 2.5. There you have it, a 2.5-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So let's take this back to the casino example and make some sense of it, make the connection. So let's write all of this down. So you have a 50% chance of winning. You win 5 times. But those 5 times you win, you actually won 1,000 each. So for your winning days, you made $5,000, right? And you lost 5 times. So for those 5 losses, you lost 400 each, which means in total you lost $2,000. So therefore, although you took 10 trades, because you applied proper risk management, your profit is actually 5,000 minus 2,000, just 3,000, right? And the reason this is so important, guys, is because you will lose trading. Everybody does. I lose a lot trading. Every trader loses. But what breaks apart the ones who are profitable in the long run and the ones who are not are the ones who use proper risk management. You hear me say this all the time. This is a game of probability, right? So if this is a game of probability, you need to play only high probability trades. If you only take high probability trades, you will be successful in the long run. There's no doubt in my mind, but you have to follow this. You have to use this risk to reward tool on every single trade that you enter, all right? This is part of your trade. Before you enter any single trade, you must know 2 things. 2 things that are absolute must, and they are stop loss and your target. Because if you don't know either, you can't calculate your risk reward ratio. And let me give you an example. For me personally, I rarely take risk to reward ratios under 1.5, right? And I'll be much more, attracted to trades that are at 2.5 or above. That's how I maintain my level of profitability. All right, which brings me to the second part of 3 parts in this video. And this part is very, very important, likely the most important part of this video, and that is stop loss. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, this is pretty basic stuff. Guys, you absolutely must follow this and stick to your stop loss. This is why most traders fail. I know it is simple, but trust me, a very small amount of traders actually does this, all right? You know what they think? What they think is, hey, eventually this coin or stock will come back to my entry price. Now, let's say you are right, which you very well might not be. It could take months, if not years, if not never, for the price to return to your break-even level. This is something you do not want to be involved in. Say you are lucky and in 1 to 2 months time, the coin returns to your break-even price. That means 2 months of lost opportunity because your money was tied up in there. And that's assuming the coin does eventually return to your entry price, which, believe me, so many times it simply does not happen. Many traders who bought coins in December and January and did not stick to their stop loss are still today, August 9th, waiting for their break-even to finally happen. Many of them are still at a 70% loss or worse. You do not want to be in that place, all right? I'm teaching you better than that. Let's look at a couple examples. Look at Bitcoin, right? Let's look, say, over here. So you're looking to enter a trade right here, and whatever indicators back then were signaling to a long here, for example, or a limit order, and you bought right here, okay? Let's signal this. You bought right there, right? Now let's go to the daily. So now, you bought there, right? You bought over here. As you can imagine, if you were holding and hoping using the strategy, you know, it will come back to my entry price. Today, over 3 months later, you are still waiting on your return. It's been 100 days and you're still waiting on your return. Especially when you're first starting out, you can't ever be certain that you didn't just buy the top, all right? Or the local top, meaning that it will eventually come back, but it might take some time. So in that meantime, your money was tied there and it was at a loss. Had you used the stop loss, you would have, say you used the conservative or even not, even a liberal stop loss here, and you lost 7%. That's better than sitting in your money right now and seeing a 35% loss. And it could be a lot worse. All you got to do is go to any other coin. You can go here to OMG and look at this. What if you had bought right here, right? What if you bought right there? If you had a stop loss, you would have made a 10% loss, 8, 7, 6% loss. But if you hadn't and you were holding, hoping that you get your money back and at some point it will come back to the entry price, you'd be sitting at a 75% dollar loss and you're still holding. So now that we understand risk to reward and we understand the importance of stop losses, I want to bring you to the third part of this video, which is laddering. To change things up a little, let's take a look at laddering on the EOS chart. So let's go to 15-minute chart. Let's go to May. So to keep things simple, I'm going to write this down, but to keep things simple, let's say that you're always playing with a $1,000 maximum position size. So say you bought EOS right here, okay? And it dumps on you 7% like it did, right? 7% of 1,000 is 70, so you're down $70. So let's say if you had put down $1,000, you would be down 70, right? So now let's say that instead you bought $1,000 here at 11.5, you instead bought some here, and a little more here, right? Still using $1,000, nothing has changed. Instead of buying $1,000 at 11.5, using laddering, you purchased, let's say, $250 at 11.5. And then on this one here, let's say you put in another $250. And this is at 11.16. Let's put 11.15. And then you put $500, just the remaining of your 1,000, at 10.8. So now the position that you bought at 11.5 is down 7%, right? You're here. So from here to here, you dropped 7%. Okay? From the position that you bought at 11.15, which is this one here, let's say that it dropped on you 4%. So on that position, you are down 4%. And on the last position at 10.8, you were down 1.5%, right? 1.5%. So now let's do the math on this. On your 7% loss, it was at a $250 position, right? So from here, you are actually down 17.5, right? Because it's $250 that you bought at 11.5 on a 7% drop. You do this by taking 250 times 0.07. So here, you are down 17.5. And in here, you're down, it's 250 again, but it's 4%. So times 0.04, $10. So you're down $10 on this position. And on the last one, on your big position, you are down 0.015, but this here is 500. So here you are down $7.50. This plus that is $35. So then you have the $70 loss in comparison to a $35 loss. And needless to say, a $70 loss is worse than a $35 loss, right? This is the greater symbol sign. In this case, if you had been laddering down and you reached to this point here, you were actually down only $35. So then you can choose to exit your position or you could choose to stay in, right? If you chose to stay in, you then have the move up. So instead of having to wait for this level right here to break even, if you do the math, you'll likely be around this area to break even. So once you get here, you're already in profit 3.5% instead of being at break even, right? This is laddering. And this is different from dollar cost averaging. The reason that is so is because dollar cost averaging is a very simple strategy that I've made my thoughts on very clear that I do not like. And it's used mostly by amateurs and ends up losing money even more. The laddering strategy, the difference is it goes both on the way down as on the way up. Say you have a position size of $1,000 that you only trade with $1,000 maximum on one position, right? Instead of always entering 1,000, you can split it by 250, 250, 500 like we just did. And then on the way up, you can then ladder your sells. So you sell a little here, sell a little here, sell a little there, for example. If you've been following me on Instagram all along, you've seen my stories where I say, took profits at this level, took more profits at this level, etc. What that is I'm laddering. That means, say, if I enter a short position here, I will take profits here, I will take profits there, I will take more profits here, etc. So what if, now you could be thinking, what if instead of the question of buying is here, what if it was here, for example, or even here? It obviously kept going up, right? So you might be thinking, if I was laddering my buys here, and then here, and then here, once we reach to this level here, I'm at not as great a profit as I would have been if I had gone all in at this level. There will be many times where you would have been better off going all in the beginning rather than laddering your buys or your sells. But this is a risk management strategy. You're here to increase your profitability while minimizing your losses. And this is one way to do it, okay? Before I wrap up this video, what I want to bring to your attention is your position size, right? As you saw, we here did a split. We had a $1,000 position and we did a split of 250, 250, and 500. So that's 25, 25, 50 in terms of percentages. When I was first starting out, I would never open up a trade with, say, 50% of my position size. I would then use something like I did here, where I did 25, 25, 50, or 15, 35, 50. There's no recommended split of your ladder. So what's important that you do is that you try it out and see what works best for you. And as you build more confidence, you will then increase your position size at first. So now I am a lot more confident putting down 50% of my position size right away in the beginning in certain trades when the setup allows me to do so. It's part of your journey to decide which method works best for you, all right? So that'll be it for this video. I will see you in the next one.